Vamos a empezar aquí. Y feliz lunes, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están todos? ¿Están bien?
Muy bien.
¿Están bien? ¿Bien?
Perfecto.
Ok, bien. Para lunes, for Monday, see? We're going to putz around with a number of things. We're going to finish our tener prompts. So the one thing I want to show you, ¿dónde está? Aquí está. Here it is. Oh, I got to be careful not to hit that Chrome update button. What is it with Chrome? How many updates can they send me in a week? Good God. Okay. I'm seeing an update button again. I'm not doing that in the middle of the session. Okay. The one piece of paper you will need, we need to finish these prompts that we have like the last 5 hanging on, or last 6 maybe. Oh yeah. Last 5 or 6, from 9 on, I believe it was. We're going to finish those prompts. So if you printed that out, or if you want to pull it up as a screen, make sure to do so soon. You'll have a few minutes to get that done. We're going to do a small group on that, but we're going to do a small group first on something totally off the cuff. And just for fun again, it'll be another of our little guess, tell why the item doesn't fit. Tell why the item doesn't fit. And I'll have just go off and play with that for a little while. We'll take a look at what those items are so that you know, and remind you what we're going to do. So we're going to do our little guessing game. We're going to finish up our tener prompts. What else are we doing today? We're going to do some work on present progressive and show you how that works with estar, with other verbs as well. I hope to show a partial on one video. We're going to talk about when ing is not used as ing, ing. When it is used as ing, the ando yendo, when it is not used as ing would be in English. Those are called gerunds. And I hope to get some extra practice and just some pointers on that ser estar, because we had good questions last week about how confusing it can be, and yes, it can be, on whether you use ser or whether you use estar, and how that may do a flippy flop, and why, and how to maybe get comfortable with that. Although, is there never a way to get, I don't know if there's a way to get comfortable with ser estar. Ser estar in the Spanish world is a bugaboo for people coming from many different languages into Spanish. You know, the Germans, the French think like, wow, this is weird. They've got 2 verbs for to be. And so it's not just us English speakers who think that is weird. So we're hoping to fit as much of that in today as we can. Let's start with a little exercise. I'm going to send you off into groups to work on this. You're going to pick one thing out of the group of 4 that I don't want to say doesn't fit, but is maybe kind of an oddball. And you will see the screen as you move out into your breakout rooms. And then this is going to be, and the question again is, ¿cuál es diferente? Which one is different? Not necessarily that doesn't fit, but it's different. There's no one correct answer, really. You may have different reasons. ¿Cuál es diferente en cada serie? Which one is different in each series or sequence? ¿Y por qué? ¿Por qué? The why is important. The why. Okay, hay 3 series o hay 3 grupos de objetos y ustedes van a hablar en grupos más pequeños. You're going to talk in smaller groups about which in each item is, you know, maybe is different from the other 3 items there. We got en el grupo, en la serie de letra A, tenemos el tenedor, el cuchillo y Miren el tamaño de ese cuchillo. Check out the size of that cleaver. Yeah, cuchillo. La cuchara y otra cuchara. Y voy a escribir aquí otra cuchara. Otra cuchara means another spoon. Ok. En la serie B, los objetos en el grupo con letra B, tenemos el perro, el pez dorado, a goldfish. Golden fish, el pez dorado, el gato, y el pájaro, perico. Perico would be more like a parakeet. Yeah, you know, it's a pet bird. El pájaro. Perico is more specific, a parakeet. En el grupo de C tenemos bebidas. La cerveza, el vino, la champaña. Sometimes you hear people say el champán también, el champán. Y la tequila. Y well, okay, cuando llegan a sus grupos, when you get into your groups, you will see the pictures pop up. So, which one is different? ¿Cuál es diferente del grupo, de cada grupo? Y por qué? And the why is important. And we'll come back and share some of your ideas. This is just an off-the-cuff thing to get you into speaking a little bit about easy stuff. Uy, a ver, vamos. Vamos a ver. 7 u 6. 6 grupos. Okay. You'll have about 3 people, maybe 4 per group. It depends, no more than 4, 2 or 3 people for most of the groups. And once you hit your join button, I will send the picture into your breakout rooms.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay. And Loretta, do you need to practice with me, or are you unable to find your join button?
I can find it, but I
If you can't, no big deal, but okay, bien. And Bill, I think you're going to get your join button soon. Okay, vale. Ok, vamos a ver, es posible decir que en la serie A, tenemos una cosa es diferente porque es de madera. El tenedor, el cuchillo, la cuchara, los primeros 3 objetos son de metal, pero la otra cuchara es de madera. Pero también es posible decir que quizás el cuchillo es diferente porque es muy agudo, es really sharp. No sé. Vamos a ver, es para cortar, ¿sí? La cuchara, el tenedor no son para cortar. Those are not for cutting. El cuchillo sí es para cortar. En la serie B, se puede decir que el pez dorado es diferente porque vive en el agua. Vive en el agua, el pez, el perro, el gato, el pájaro no viven en el agua. O quizás que porque el pez dorado no tiene patas, doesn't have feet. Y por eso es diferente, sí. O quizás el pájaro es diferente porque vuela y el perro, el pez dorado, el gato no vuelan, they don't fly. Vamos a ver, entonces, en la serie con la letra C, tenemos cerveza, vino, champaña, tequila. ¿Cuál es diferente? Quizás la champaña porque tiene burbujas, it has bubbles. El vino normal no tiene burbujas, bubbles, ¿sí? La cerveza sí tiene burbujas. Quizás no. La tequila quizás es diferente porque es mucho más fuerte, ¿sí? Es fácil emborracharse con la tequila. It's easy to get drunk on tequila y no tanto con la cerveza y el vino. Ok. En la tequila. Ok. I need to join a breakout.
Sorry.
¿Cómo están?
Bill is having problems with, he cannot hear us.
Oh, no. Bill, I can see you are on mute, but you cannot hear us. Wow.
We were using sign language, but it didn't work. Not sign language, but hand
Yeah.
signals.
But you can hear us, Bill. Can you hear us? You cannot hear us at all. You cannot hear me. Wow.
You talk, you talk.
Trying to get him to.
Yeah, I
Oh, he's
do
talking.
not.
We
Yeah.
can't hear you.
Okay. I'm gonna try to type to you, Bill. Espera un minuto. I'm gonna leave this so I can go out and try to see if there's any button I can fix it. We'll do a magic thing here. Okay. Tom, yeah. Oh, okay. That popped you back in. It's time for me. I had somebody who had audio problems in another room, so I was trying to see.
Oh, okay.
Okay. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta? Do you have some kind of a question before I bring people back here or no?
Oh man, no, not really.
Un poquito. Okay. We're going to pull people back in to see what kinds of things they might have gotten. And pobre Bill, poor Bill. I don't know. I looked here, but I can't. I think he's the only person who cannot hear us. So.
Grupo más difícil es cerveza, vino, que es diferente
Sí.
de tequila,
No.
de agave.
Bien, sí. Se hace con agave, sí, eso es.
Sí.
Eso es, sí. We'll get, aquí vienen, here comes some more folks, aquí vienen más, ok. Vamos a ver. I'm going to try to get. Ooh, I think Bill might be trying to get back in again. He's got a. an internet thing going on.
Mm.
And I don't know what it is. He's the only one who's got the internet problems so far today. Knock on wood. Okay. Aquí vienen todos. Here comes everybody. Fantástico. Ok. Y como siempre, as always, ¿sí? No hay una solución perfecta. There is no
No.
one perfect solution. Sí, es.
Yeah,
Es
we can't, you have no sound?
Costas, mucho costas.
Now, Diema, it was just.
Can you hear, can
I
you
can-
hear her now?
No,
Oh, you can't hear. Why don't you back out completely and come in again?
Yeah.
I did that twice already.
Ay.
Did not
Bill,
work.
we can hear you in like you're kind of coming through a tin
Tell him
can.
to shut his computer down all the way and boot it back up.
Oh, let me type that to him.
She's saying, Marilyn, I'm talking to him directly on a telephone.
Oh, okay.
And he's already tried to shut down his computer and come back in again, and it's still not functioning.
Oh,
Then unplug his internet for 1 minute and replug it back in.
Someone suggested, Bill, you unplug your internet and all for 1 minute and then plug it back in
And then start all over again.
and
huh?
start all over again. Back all the way out, unplug your devices and your internet and then try and come back
Okay.
in.
Okay, if that doesn't work. then I'll
Okay.
bail out and catch it on the
Yeah.
recording there. I don't want to.
yeah, not something sadly that I can fix on my end. Okay,
No.
lo siento. Lo siento. Bueno, vamos a ver qué pasa. ¿Qué creen ustedes? What do you guys think? Sí, ¿cuál de la serie A, del grupo de objetos de la letra A, cuál es diferente y por qué?
El cuchillo
El cuchillo, ¿por qué?
es diferente porque se usa para cortar y cocinar.
Bien, sí. El cuchillo es diferente porque se usa para cortar. It is used for. It is used for. Se usa para. Se
Se
usa
usa para.
Se usa para cortar. You use it for cutting. Hay otra opinión. Is there another opinion?
Sí.
Something.
Oh,
La otra cuchara es diferente porque es de madera.
Sí, porque es de madera. Here's one of our uses of ser. Es de madera. Es de madera. Es de madera. It's made out of wood. La otra cuchara sí es de madera. El tenedor, el cuchillo, la cuchara, la primera cuchara, the first spoon, ¿sí? Son de metal, son de metal. When we talk about the material something is made out of, we use ser to talk about that. Es de metal. Son de metal. Los tres son de metal. The first three are made out of metal. ¿Sí? La última cosa, la otra cuchara es de madera. It's made out of wood. Bien. Ok. Otra opinión.
El tenedor empieza para la letra T y los otras la letra C.
That's a good one.
Okay. Okay.
El cuchillo es arma homicida. Lo siento.
That's just about a weapon, no? Sí,
Yeah,
es como arma. Wow, that's like a weapon. Sí. Yes, that was chosen on purpose. Okay. But you can describe things in different ways. Pueden ver, you can see. Okay, fantástico. De la serie B, de la letra B, ¿cuál es diferente y por qué?
El pájaro. El
pájaro
pájaro es diferente porque el pájaro puede volar.
Puede volar. Puede volar. It can fly. Bien. ¿Otra opinión?
El gato, solamente el gato tiene bolas pelo.
Ah, el gato tiene pelo. Pues, ¿el perro no tiene pelo?
No, possibly.
Bola pelo, hairballs.
Ah, ok.
Hairballs.
Ok. ¿Otra opinión?
El pez dorado es más pequeño con los otros.
Es el animal más pequeño de los 4. El pez dorado es el animal más pequeño. Muy pequeño,
El
¿no?
dorado
Es-
vive en agua.
El
Sí,
pez
el
dorado.
pez dorado vive en el agua.
Sí, vive en el agua. El pez dorado vive en el agua. Bien, excelente. Excelente.
El perro y el gato tiene 4 pies.
Ah, sí. Ah, bien. Cuando usamos la idea de pies, ¿no? de pies. En el ser humano es un pie. En un animal se dice pata. P-A-T-A.
Pata,
There's a
paws.
special word they use for the leg or foot of an animal, and this can be used for both the whole leg or just the foot. Pata, okay? Sí, el perro y el gato tienen 4 patas, okay? Para que sepan, so you know, patas are used for animal legs and animal feet. Vale. Ok. Bueno, de la letra C, la cerveza, el vino, la champaña, la tequila. Más difícil, ¿no? Muy difícil. ¿Cuál es diferente y por qué?
La champaña y la tequila son diferentes porque no me bebo con pizza.
Es verdad. En general, sí. Estoy de acuerdo. I agree.
Nora, you can tell your idea, Nora.
Okay, here we go. La tequila es diferente porque tiene un gusano.
Muchas veces tiene un gusano, worm, sí, tradicionalmente, sí, un gusano al fondo, muy al fondo, way at the bottom, sí, vale, ¿verdad? Y Tomás.
La cerveza y la champaña son diferentes porque tienen efervencia.
Ok.
Oh, effervescent.
Tienen burbujas.
Burbujas, bubbles.
Tienen burbujas.
Burbujas.
Burbujas. I love that word bubble, burbuja.
Burbujas.
Burbuja sounds like, it's one of those onomatopoeia things. Burbuja. Burbuja. Ok, tienen burbujas. They have bubbles, ¿sí? La champaña generalmente cuesta mucho, cuesta más que la cerveza, el vino. Quizás no con la tequila. Hoy en día, la tequila cuesta mucho, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Es costoso,
No
es
sé.
costoso, ¿sí? ¿Vale? Sí. Tomás tenía una idea. Tomás had an idea about tequila. La tequila.
Sí, cerveza de trigo, el vino, la champaña es de grappa, pero tequila de cactus o agave.
Sí, agave. Se hace la tequila de agave, de la planta que se llama agave. Y es especial técnicamente. para poner la etiqueta de tequila, to put on a label that says tequila, technically in Mexico, it has to come from a certain region, from the blue agave
Oh,
plants. Yeah, see, it's kind of like the French started to label champagne. It's only champagne if it comes from champagne, right? See, and you know, if it was another effervescent, hey, stop calling it champaña. No, no, no lo es. It is not. Okay, vale. All right. I love these kind of exercises to get you guys talking and spinning different ideas, because that is what we do in real conversation. We're going to seg back to now our tener expressions, our tener idioms. And we did not have a chance to finish the last seis, creo. I think we left off with 9. Vamos a ver. And again, you'll see these into the breakout rooms when you go back into breakout rooms. So we're looking at 9. We finished the first 8 for sure. I don't think we did number 9. See?
Yes, we did.
Did we do 9?
Yes.
We did 9. Okay. Tener ganas, to feel like doing something. Tener ganas. Okay. Lo que ustedes van a practicar, what you guys are going to practice, are número 10, tengo frío, right? And the me pongo means I put it on, meaning a thing, you know, un artículo de ropa. Okay. Tengo frío en número 10. En número 11, cuando tengo calor. And after that, with prefiero, you might talk about what you eat, what you drink, what you want, what you prefer to do. Depende, ¿no? Número 12. Tener cuidado is to have care, but we use tener cuidado to express be careful. Be careful. En español no es be careful, es tener cuidado, ¿ok? Número 13. Tengo sueño, boom, 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 y tener sueño is to be sleepy, literally to have sleepiness. Sueño also by itself, without tener, sueño also means dream. Okay, so mi sueño, my dream, mi sueño es ser fotógrafa. My dream is to be a photographer, por ejemplo, ¿sí? Pero contener es be sleepy, okay? Not be tired, be sleepy, tener sueño. Y por fin, número 14 es tengo prisa cuando. Prisa is hurriedness. Boy, that doesn't translate well at all. We say I am in a hurry or I am in a rush, okay? Tengo prisa, I'm in a hurry. I have my legs turning around like this, yeah? I'm in a hurry. So I will send those little prompts out in case you didn't print them out, so you can practice with that. Quizás 7 minutos, maybe 7 minutes, because you're finishing sentences, right? And there are many ways you can finish these sentences. So we'll give you, I think, about 7 minutes for that. 7 minutos. Okay. Vamos a ver. Bien.
7 minutes. Oh.
Okay. Tener idioms. This is our last review of tener idioms, which are very, very hard for English speakers to get used to because we don't use the idea of a verb have with, have hurriedness, have sleepiness, have care, have carefulness. We say that somebody is careful, somebody is sleepy, somebody is in a hurry, somebody is cold, not they have cold. And although other languages do use tener idioms, they do use tener in this way. With some, I'm sure not all of these expressions, but some of them, German and French both use a verb have with have hunger, have thirst. So that habit of using have with a noun, a quality of a physical sensation does occur in other languages outside of Spanish. And it feels a little more natural for them to get used to that than it does for English speakers that we do not use the word have with body sensations, as many of these are. Even then, not all of these are body sensations. Tener razón, to be right. Being right, that's not a bodily sensation like being hot, being cold, being hungry, being thirsty. So it's just a series of idioms, modismos, special phrases, special expressions that you have to get used to, that's just the way they say it in this language. Y vamos a ver. Okay. Quizás 4 minutos más. We're going to tie some of this tener frío and tener calor back into ser estar again, because these are difficult things where Spanish will use very different verbs. If you talk about a person being hot or cold, it's tener. If you talk about the weather being hot or cold, it's hacer, or maybe even estar. If you talk about materials, things, food, drink, being hot or cold, it's going to be estar most of the time. And that can be kind of confusing. So we'll kind of tie the tener frío and tener calor back into ser estar in just a little bit. See if Bill was trying to email me to get it back on, but I haven't seen that yet. we'll bring folks back soon. Okay. Aquí bien, we got people coming back in. We're going to see what kind of questions you might have had from this. Okay. Aquí vienen más y más. Bien. Vale. Bueno, díganme. Ok. Unos ejemplos. Let's get some examples of ideas, some ideas you came up with. And let's also, and we're going to use this to talk a little bit, tying this into how it's different from ser estar, because we had this question come up in the group yesterday about how ser and estar are very confusing, and these we have no ser and estar at all, only tener, because these are special expressions. And we'll try to tie some of these together a little bit. And you probably aren't going to get a satisfactory answer as to why ser and estar are not used in these situations. It's just getting used to, these are the patterns that people use. But we want to give you some clues for what is good to use and what is good to avoid. So, okay, por ejemplo, en número 10, me pongo, I put on, me pongo, boom, boom, boom. You had to fill something in. Cuando tengo frío.
Una chaqueta.
Una chaqueta, me pongo una chaqueta, me pongo una perdón.
Abrigo.
Abrigo, me pongo un abrigo, I put on a coat. Sí, chaqueta, jacket, abrigo, coat.
I've lost the picture.
Oh, perdón.
I've lost the picture.
Okay, bien.
I haven't either.
What's the word for blanket?
Otra pregunta. Any other thing that somebody wants to add as an example here? Me pongo
Blanket, but what do you say blanket?
Frazada.
Is
Frazada was my blanket.
it? Okay.
Oh,
Suéter.
otra vez, Carrie?
Suéter. How do you say sweater? Suéter.
Oh, suéter, sí. Suéter. Sí, en Latinoamérica se dice suéter. They kind of adopt that English idea of jersey in Spain, but in Latin America it would be suéter. Sí, es suéter. Ok. Por ejemplo, en número 11, cuando tengo calor, prefiero, I prefer. Cuando tengo calor, prefiero.
Nadar en una piscina.
Nadar en una piscina, swim in a pool.
I've lost the picture.
Beber agua.
Beber agua, drink water.
Como
El
helado.
aire acondicionado.
Yes.
Estar en
Estar en la habitación
estar en la habitación, estar
con aire.
sí, estar en un cuarto con el aire acondicionado. Yeah, sí,
Sí,
eso es. Sí.
y tomar una bebida fría.
Y tomar una bebida fría o fresca, sí, bien, excelente. Cuando tenemos, tenemos cuidado cuando, we are careful when, tenemos cuidado cuando.
Caminamos en las montañas.
Cuando caminamos en las montañas, when you
I have
hike
lost
around.
the picture.
Sí. Lorena, can you type into me what you're having difficulty with?
I don't have the picture.
I've lost the picture.
You've lost the picture.
I've lost
I
the
don't have it
Um,
either. The
Hover
list.
around at the bottom of your screen with the cursor, if you have one,
No.
and look for the video button or video tab.
Video.
Mhm.
I think she
And-
means she's lost the list of the
The list.
questions.
Oh,
the-
yes,
See you,
yes.
just can't see the
Okay.
list.
Oh, the list. Okay, that's what she's talking about. I will pull that in again. Okay, bien? Mejor.
Bien.
Okay. My problem is when I do that, then I cannot see you, but that's all right. Okay.
Bien.
Sí, bien, mejor. Ok. Tenemos cuidado cuando. We are careful when. We had caminar en las montañas, walking in the mountanes. ¿Qué más? What else?
Cuando,
Manejamos en la nieve.
Cuando manejamos en la nieve. When you drive in snow,
Sí.
en la nieve. Sí, ¿qué más?
Cuando
Camino en la
estoy,
oscuridad.
En la oscuridad, in the dark. Sí, y, Mark.
cuando estoy en el subterráneo.
Cuando estoy en el...
Subterráneo, subway.
Oh, metro. El metro.
Metro.
Yeah, subway es el metro. El metro. Sí, cuando estoy en el metro, tengo cuidado. Es importante. That's really important. Eso es.
cuando manejo mi carro en Arizona.
Cuando manejo mi carro en Arizona. Sí, bien, bien. Todos tenemos cuidado cuando manejamos, ¿verdad? Eso es, that is so. Bueno, 13, tengo sueño. I am sleepy.
Veo una película aburrida.
Cuando veo una película aburrida. When I watch a boring movie.
Okay.
Tengo sueño.
A las 10 horas.
A las 10 at 10. And for time, all you need is, we don't need the horas part. A las 10. A las 10
Las 10.
de la noche, ¿no? A las 10. Tengo sueño a las 10, ¿sí?
Leo una gruesa novela.
Cuando leo una gruesa, a thick, ¿sí? Now, una novela muy larga, very long, una novela muy grande, ¿sí? Bien, ¿vale? Bueno, ¿algo más o no?
Tengo sueño después clase.
Después de clase. Tengo sueño de, I'm sleepy after class. Tengo sueño después de la clase. Bien. Tengo prisa cuando
Voy al supermercado.
Cuando voy al supermercado.
Okay, is it estoy tarde or soy tarde?
Estoy.
Tarde. Is it soy or estoy? Tarde.
I'm not catching the last word, I'm sorry.
Tarde. Late.
Tarde, perdón, tarde. Estoy. Buena pregunta. We're going to tie this in really soon, Hillary. This is good stuff. Sí, estoy tarde, sí. No estoy a tiempo. Estar a tiempo is to be on time. Estar a tiempo. Bien. Ok. Tengo prisa cuando.
Cocina para un grande fiesta. Cochino para un grande fiesta.
When you go.
Cochino. Para un grande fiesta. Cooking for a big feast.
Oh, cocinar. Okay, cocina is a pig.
No, I say cocino.
Oh, cocino. Okay. Sí, cuando cocino. Cuando cocino
para un grande fiesta.
Un gran fiesta, una fiesta grande, una fiesta importante. Sí, cuando cocino Bien, when I'm cooking, sí. Tengo prisa cuando trabajo mucho. Tengo prisa cuando
Estoy caminando.
estoy caminando. Bien. Ok.
Voy a
Cuan-
un país diferente, ver los museos.
voy, sí, bien, bien. Ok. Buenas ideas. Good ideas. Any
Glenn, I have a
questions?
question. On
Sí.
number 13, if you wanted to say I'm sleepy at 4 o'clock, how do you use a clock in Spanish? And
Buena pregunta. Good question. Let's take a quick look at that.
or can you just stop at 4? Because it doesn't give, or AM, PM, midnight, middle of the night.
Yeah,
kinda
sí, sí. Hay varias cosas. There are different things we can do with that, but there are some very, very easy things to do at a time. When we want to express the idea of at a time, and it's a clock time, right? A las. A las you're going to use for everything except the hour 1, and then it turns to a la. A la una, but every other hour, because una is always singular, but a las 4. A las 4. Tengo sueño a las 4. I am sleepy at 4 o'clock, and 4 o'clock is a las 4.
Okay.
Now, you can embellish a little bit and say a las 4 de la tarde.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, in the afternoon, right? If it's 4 a.m., we're not going to call that de la tarde. A las 4 might be called de la madrugada, because are most of us really up at 4 a.m.? Usually, not so much. It could be expressed as a las 4 de la mañana, right? But de la madrugada is a little more specific. Madrugada is like wee hours, the very early hours of the morning, okay, when everybody else is in bed. That's la
And then,
madrugada.
about what time, if it wasn't 4, would you shift from tarde to noche?
Noche. It depends literally on the sun setting.
Oh.
If the sun is up, they will continue to use de la tarde.
Okay.
So I would say, and so literally it depends on where you are. If you're near the equator, it's kind of, there's not as much variation as here with that sunset time, but usually sometime between 7 and 8.
Okay, so that's the rule of thumb. Is the
When
sun.
when you migrate into the de la noche. All right.
Gracias.
It'll usually be between those hours, but if the sun is still up, people are likely to say de la tarde. And that's the magical answer. But a las is how we express at. But the only one that goes to a singular word of a la is this 1 o'clock hour. A la una. A la una. Okay, because it's a hour. Okay. Otra pregunta. Any other questions? Sí o no? Okay. I want to point one thing out, and I want to tie this into the little next topic we're going to take a look at. And it is this whole thing of to be, is a problem in Spanish. It is a problem in Spanish in many, many ways. I feel for you. I hear you, because yes, it is. Because we've got ser, because we've got estar, because we've got these weird tener idioms. And these things here, these tener idioms are something you have to navigate about and just get used to. This is what they use instead of ser or instead of estar. Ser and estar by themselves are, enough problem. But tener, yeah, they are. Es normal, that is a normal thing, but tener idioms. So what I want to tie in from this tener idiom thing into moving into ser estar is this idea. There are you have to get used to Spanish using particular patterns when we're talking about particular things. So here's what I'm going to preface it with first, because this can become very, very prickly. These two tener idioms, tener frío and tener calor, are very, very specific. To be cold, whoops, and to be hot. These are used when we're talking about how people feel. When we talk about how people feel. Because a lot of these tener idioms relate back to personal sensations. Physical sensations. Tener idioms are often used for physical sensations. Even that thing of tener miedo, to be afraid, is a physical sensation. Now that doesn't apply across the board. So when you say, bueno, mi esposo tiene razón, my husband is right. Him being right is not a physical sensation like miedo, fear, like frío, cold, like calor, hot. Okay, so it doesn't always obey these rules, but human beings, or maybe animal, your pet, because if your doggy was cold or your kitty was cold or hot, we would use it for them too. When we talk about human beings and our loved ones around us, feeling a physical sensation, we often use these tener idioms often. So this is really important. Tener calor, guys, is the only thing you can use to say feel hot.
Excuse me.
That you're not in air conditioning, you've had it, and boy, you wish you could cool off. Tengo calor means I am hot. It does not mean it is hot outside. We can't use it for that. We can't use it for a drink or a plate of food being hot. Okay, tener calor is the only thing we can use to talk about a human being feeling warm, overheated. Okay, tengo calor. I want to caution you about this because lots and lots of people think, oh, yay, ser estar, temporary. Oh, I'm hot, that's temporary. I'm not hot all the time. And they say, estoy caliente. Never, never, never use that. No, nunca, never use that because that means I am horny. Horny. Don't ever use estoy caliente, ever, 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 because you will get funny looks from people. You will get people looking at you, the eyes will kind of like, okay, fine. That's kind of personal information for you to be sharing with me, but okay, I'll kind of ignore that like you didn't say it or try to laugh it off. So we can never, never use, even though it is certainly temporary when we feel hot or cold, never, never use estoy caliente. That is the one thing I got to warn you off of. Never, never use that because that expression can, well, get you in trouble, will make people think you are weird, okay, when you're not, okay? So always
be in danger.
Yeah, you know, you want to hide under a rock. Yeah, that's the kind of mistake you want to hide under a rock after you've made it because people will walk away from you saying, okay, fine. Tener calor is used when we talk about people having that physical sensation. But if we're talking about the weather, very, very often we don't use tener at all. Very, very often we use hace. So I want to hit on this idea of hot and cold. We're getting into summer. This is a common thing for us to talk about. It's hot, meaning outside. Hace calor. hace calor. If you want to say it's very hot, hace mucho calor. And it's got to be el mucho, not muy. I know very is muy, but hace mucho calor because it makes a lot of heat. Literally, you are saying it makes a lot of heat. Now, you may hear people in different regions say something like estar, temporary, calurosa, caluroso, or caluroso. It's warm. You may, but hace calor is kind of the go-to. Hace and maybe está are used in weather expressions, depending on what those weather expressions are. So tener with calor cannot be used to talk about weather, okay? Hace and sometimes está. Now, so how does that tie into ser and estar? Okay. If we want to use this idea with caliente, caliente, yes, does mean hot, hot and not horny when you're talking about items, things, okay?
Also.
Things. So now you do have to think about that 50-50 thing. Ser and estar with that idea of caliente or frío will really depend on the item, but most of the time is if you're talking about food being hot or cold, most of the time it's going to wind up being está, okay? Because usually the temperature of a food is very, very changeable. All right, so you know, el café está caliente, el café está caliente, el té está caliente. El agua está fría. El agua está fría. The water is cold, okay? To talk about temperatures of food and drinks, usually estar caliente or estar frío or fría, okay? The only exception, guys, would be if we talk about something which has to be cold to be what it is, like ice is cold. And that's because cold is, ice can't be ice without that quality of cold. Okay, so el hielo, el hielo es frío. Would be more normal. Ice is cold because if ice is not cold, it is no longer ice. It melts into water. Okay. El fuego, fire, es caliente. Fire is by the nature of what that is. It is a hot thing. That is part of its identity, right? Ser is used to talk about the identity. Often, if you can equate mentally that idea of equals, it's going to be ser because it'll be an identifying factor rather than a variable temperature. And I know that may feel kind of capricious, but you kind of get a feel for that as you go along. We do want to look a little bit, however, at some of these other ways in which ser and estar can be used in descriptions. And these are descriptions that are sometimes confusing because there are some descriptions, some adjectives where I can use both ser and estar, but they mean different things that will change the definition of the adjective itself. Okay. Okay, where will it not change? Ser is used to talk about what something is really like. Mi blusa es amarilla. My blouse is yellow. I mean, this is part of the essential nature of what this fabric is. Okay, so ser, right? But as we're going to see soon, momentarily, ser and estar in descriptions can get tricky. So we're going to check this out. We're going to take a look at some words that can do a flippy flop with both ser and estar, but kind of changes the meaning. Broadly speaking, the verb ser refers to the nature of things. Y uy es la clave. This is really the nature, the key. This is the key. Ser refers to the nature of things, the essence of that thing. When you got into small groups and some of you said, hey, that wooden spoon is different because it's made out of wood. What that spoon was made out of is the nature of that spoon. The material it is made out of is the nature of that item. So la cuchara es de madera. It's made out of wood. It is of wood, literally. It's made out of wood. But ser refers to the nature of things, okay?
Marilyn?
And it's going to describe features that are inherent to the noun being described.
Marilyn, may I ask a question?
Sí,
When I looked up that exact word verbiage, it said is made of wood is está hecho de madera.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yes. Está hecho de madera. It is made out of wood. If you use the word made out of, yes. Oh, that goes into a longer thing, which is,
I thought so.
Yeah, that opens a different can of worms. We're not going to open that can of worms yet. But here's what I'm going to tell you. It's because but Trish, the reason is it's because of that word hecha.
Right.
Hecha is made a past participle. Yeah, that's a different.
Okay. That's what I thought, but
so
anyway.
So now, okay, so the shorter way for me to tell you, we're not going to open that can of worms yet, is that when you, which is great because you need a shorter word, right? That word de. Yay. So when you say something is made out of, es de, it's of. Es de oro, it's made out of gold. Es de plata, it's made out of silver. Es de madera, it's made out of, paper. Made out of wood, Es de papel, it's made out of paper. Say some little, origami thing or whatever. Okay, es de, it's a shorter word. Hecho is a word, Trish said, because it's a participle, it can go masculine, feminine, singular, plural. It's used with estar, yeah, and we're not going to open that can of words yet. But in general, when you talk of something, es de plástico, it's made out of plastic. Es de, and then the material. Okay.
I had the same thing as you, Trish.
Okay.
So what you did, if you plugged that into a translator, it was looking at that word made.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and there is a word made, which might be hecho or hecha or hechos or hechas. So a way to take that hecha word out, throw it away, and plug in a shorter word, salud, is just the word de. Es de. Or if it's a plural thing, son de. Like if I talked about a pair of earrings, los aretes, the earrings, los aretes son de oro. They're made out of gold. Okay. So features that are inherent to the noun being described, we generally use ser. Okay. Bien. Okay. Ser also classifies the noun. That is, it can set different categories. Tells you what category something is in, what relationship people have to each other. She's a mother, he is a son, they are children. Okay, so ser can put people or things into categories. All right. The verb estar never refers to the nature of nouns. Not to their essence, not to their nature, not to what material they are made of, but to their state, their condition, their situation, or their circumstance. Oh, what a lot of gobbledygook. Okay, let's look at something else. Let's look at an example, because the more examples you see, the more you get used to the pattern of the examples. Mi hermana es muy lista. Ooh. Lista can change meanings with ser or estar. Mi hermana es muy lista means my sister is very clever. She's sharp. She's witty. She is fast mentally. Mi hermana es muy lista. It refers to just the way her mind works, the way things click with that girl. Es muy lista. If I change this and say, mi hermana está lista, then I am saying she is ready. Listo or lista in the feminine form changes meanings. If we use listo with estar, it means to be ready, a state of readiness. Set to begin, set to go, ready, okay? But listo or lista with ser means clever, sharp, mentally quick, okay? Not running quick, but mentally very, very sharp, clever. Okay. Tu novio siempre está ocupado. Your boyfriend is always busy. Estar ocupado, to be busy. Es ocupado is occupied, but estar ocupado, to be busy. You know, estamos ocupados. And ocupado may have a different word built off of it. Preocupado. Preocupado looks kind of like preoccupied. If you're preoccupied, you're thinking about something else. Preocupado really means to be worried. And then it's a feeling. Preocupado will use estar. Worried is considered a feeling that is changeable. La comida está fría. The food is cold. It refers to a physical state of food. One little exception of this, you know, if you're talking about el gazpacho, anybody know what a gazpacho is?
Yes, of course.
Gazpacho is a cold tomato soup. Yeah. Popular in Spain, popular in Mexico. Gazpacho is served cold. It is not served as a hot soup ever, not ever. And because gazpacho being gazpacho, it has to be a cold soup, it would be more appropriate to say, el gazpacho es una sopa fría. It is a cold soup because it's always served that way. It's not a changeable state. It is a cold soup. But you know, most soups, we don't serve that way. So most of the time when you hear people talking about soup or plate of food or a particular drink, it'll be está. Esta comida está fría. This food is cold. Okay. Let's look at a different way of talking about food, where it's from. Este plato es español. This dish is Spanish, meaning it's a dish from this country. Este plato es francés. This dish is French, meaning it's served in France. Okay. Este plato es mexicano. This dish is Mexican, meaning it's served in Mexico. Okay. The nationality where it originated. We use ser. Hoy no estás muy habladora. Today you're not really talkative. Most of the time you hear this idea expressed as ella es habladora. She is talkative, meaning all the time. All the time. She's yak yak nonstop. Her nature is she is a yucky person, somebody who talks a lot. So what, you might hear ser or estar used with that, depending on if it is something they do all the time or just how they're behaving today. We get another example. El zumo de limón es ácido. Lemon juice is sour. Well, that is going to use ser because it's the way that is. There is no such thing as lemon juice that's not acidic. It's a natural part of lemon juice being what it is, okay, a citric juice that is acidic. So, a typical error when teaching these differences is to link the verb ser with the concept of permanent and constant, and then add the verb estar with change and subjective. This is not always true. All right, so what they're getting to with that is that that's a tricky thing. Let me give you an idea. So if you think this is confusing, don't feel alone. The bottom line is going to be people may flip-flop their use of ser and estar, and you take your cue for some subtle difference in the idea they're communicating when they use ser or use estar. I'm going to give you an idea. And we're going to give you this with one of the most basic of descriptions. Bueno, or bien, good or well, and malo or mal, bad or badly. One of the most general descriptions you can get. It's a blah example, good and bad, yeah? Okay. La fruta es buena. Fruit is good. La fruta es buena is kind of a general statement of a general fact. Fruit is good, meaning for you. It's good for you. It's a good thing. It is a nutritious thing. It is a good item. But somebody may very well, still talking about fruta, la fruta está buena. They may say, la fruta está buena. Wait a minute, both of those descriptions are buena. All right, what they're really subtly trying to convey is the fruit tastes good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they trying to make us crazy?
They are.
Kind
of. What I
I'll
want
still
to
be trying to figure out what fruta means. So I
yeah,
don't
la
forget
fruta. La fruta está buena. La fruta está buena. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what is said after or right before as you're looking at it, or right after you've tasted it. And what it is that it is injecting this idea into the communication. You may hear more commonly with this idea. El plato está muy bueno, sí, está bien, or está bien. It tastes very good. It tastes really good. Está buena, está bueno. It tastes good. Okay. You may hear, here is a common thing too. El hombre es joven. El hombre es joven. The man is young. And this is like a textbook thing. The man is young. Young is just the way he is. We can't really change that. It will take years to change that, right? But you may hear somebody say to their buddy, They may say to their buddy, oh, I'm trying to get my punctuation work here. Uy, estás muy joven. Estás muy joven. Especially if somebody's talking to a friend. And what they're really saying is
You look young.
look young. You're not, but you look it. Conversely, when we talk about somebody's age and we say they're old, la mujer es vieja. The woman is old. I mean, that's just a statement of fact. I can't turn the clock backwards. I can't make her young again. She's an old person. La mujer es vieja. She is old. She is an old person. I'm equating her with she is an elderly person, right? But somebody's talking about their friend. Mariana.
Or their enemy.
Yeah, or your enemy. You know what? Here is something, again, you hear people say, and not really as an enemy thing, but you know those days when you just feel dragged down? Estoy muy vieja. Estoy muy vieja. I feel really old. Estoy muy vieja. I feel really old. I look really old. I feel really old. I look really old. Okay. So you may hear people kind of doing a flip-flop with some of these descriptions and know that they're injecting specific ideas when they use estar with these. They're injecting a certain idea, and we put in a totally different word in English when this happens. Let's look at one other one that is more kind of with this, like the listo thing. This word listo, right? Listo. Es listo. Es listo. He is clever. Yeah, smart, right? Smart, sharp, mentally, right? But está listo means is ready. Let's look for some other ones that you may hear used both ways, but how the meaning changes. Verde. Es, por ejemplo, la manzana es verde. See? The apple is green. It's a green variety, like a Granny Smith apple. It's verde. Its natural color is green, right? But if I'm talking about a vegetable and I use está verde, it means it is unripe. Okay, it is unripe. So that specific word verde might change somewhat in meaning with ser and estar. Ser, it's telling you the actual color of that food item, you know, the natural color, how it normally looks in a normal sense. But está verde, it's unripe, it's green, literally. So you do hear a number of adjectives. Let me give you one other
Those
thing.
seem to fit in with the temporary thought, though. If it's not ripe, that's temporary.
It
And
is
if
very
I
temporary.
feel
Yeah.
old today, hopefully that's temporary.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, those,
It's a subtle nuance thing. You have to, you know, you have to feel that little nuance of how somebody feels. It's an odd thing to get used to, but let me give you one other example. Julio es feliz. Julio is
Okay.
a happy guy. He is, that is his personality. He is a upbeat, happy kind of person. He's like that almost all the time. Okay, he's never a Debbie Downer. He's always an up kind of person. Yeah, but Julio está feliz is emphasizing the fact that he
Feliz.
feels happy. He feels that way. An emotional state.
Julio.
Not to say that he's
Stop,
normally, you know, a negative person, but just, well, wow, he's happy. Okay. And it doesn't mean he's normally negative, but wow, he is happy, right? Luis es enfermo is really saying Luis is sickly. He is kind of, he's frail. He is sickly. He is sick a lot. He is sick like almost all the time. He might even be an invalid. Don't know, but you know, he's just always sick. He is a sickly person. Okay, but how you're usually going to hear that, because for somebody to be a sickly person is not like, that doesn't happen a lot with a lot of people. It happens with some people. That's not a normal description. An everyday description is Luis está enfermo. Luis is sick, not meaning he is sickly, but he is sick, you know, now, today, this week, you know, yeah. So this is the more usual description. Luis está enfermo. This is the more usual description because we're talking about how somebody feels physically or emotionally. But you may hear people using this if they're talking about a permanent kind of thing. Okay, something being the usual for that particular person. So you kind of have to get a feel depending on the context of the use. And I know that's not maybe satisfactory, but take your cue from when you hear somebody use that. That's what they're saying. Okay, yeah? Okay. I want to take a little preview time, our last few minutes as a preview thing. And I'm going to send a video with you to listen to, and we'll kind of plug back into it to explain anything you didn't get. This is going to be a longish video, and I want you to start to notice various terms that he uses. He's going to be giving a tour of his hometown of Granada. And actually, I started to realize about 3 minutes into the video, oh, I have walked that route. Oh, that I've been there. And it took me a while to recognize I've walked that same street. Okay. But one thing you were going to hear him using from time to time, and I will want you to notice the context, is something called the presente progresivo. Yay, present progressive. How to express something that is going on right now. And I'm going to want you to notice he is going to use this as he shows people riding their bikes, as he talks about people walking around the town, as he talks about cars or buses or vehicles driving on the street. So I want you to notice this presente progresivo. And we have something exactly like this in English, okay? And structure-wise, we have different structures, but the structures perform the same function. Present progressive is used, but it usually indicates an action is taking place right now as we are speaking. So when you listen to the video, I'm going to give you for homework, you're going to notice he's going to say, hey, there's a guy riding a bike, and the guy is doing that while he is speaking. Okay. So Here is how we use it in English. Estoy manejando a la oficina. I'm driving to the office. And generally, that estoy manejando has to be used at the time we're doing the action. I'm driving to the. I'm driving to work tomorrow is not going to be used in present progressive in Spanish. If I'm doing it tomorrow, it will not be estoy manejando. It will not be. We in English sometimes use present progressive when it really isn't happening now. Oh, I'm driving to the office tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to a store at 5 o'clock. It is not 5 o'clock yet. In Spanish, you have to use future to say that, okay? But you're going to see him using estar with the progressive, with the gerund, the ing form, to talk about something that is happening in real time, okay? So I want you to notice that. And the way we do this is we use the verb estar, and that verb estar will change. It will either be estoy for I am doing it, estás for tú, you are doing it, está for one person is doing it, estamos for we are doing it, or están for they are doing it, or you guys, ustedes, you are doing it. And the second half of that is going to be an ing form. Do I have my ing form here? Donde? Yeah. I don't have my ing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And we're going to pair up the estar with an ing verb. I am walking. They are driving. The kids are playing. And the ing form is going to be ando for AR verbs. And I've got a bunch of examples there. Or yendo for ER and IR verbs. And we've got a bunch of examples. So the examples are estudiando, studying, hablando, speaking, tomando, taking or eating or drinking, because tomar has many functions, viajando, traveling, escuchando, listening, pagando, paying. All right. ER and IR verbs might sound like this: comiendo, eating, viviendo, living, escribiendo, writing, vendiendo, selling, corriendo, running, haciendo, doing. Okay. These ing verbs are paired up with estar, and the ing part is always consistent, is always the same. The ing part of the verb phrase does not change, but the estar does change, okay? So we pair up a form of estar with an ing verb, you know, a gerund form of the verb, and we get an expression that means, hey, this is happening right now while I'm talking to you. And that is the connotation it has in Spanish. So I will want you to notice him using that. And he's also going to point out another verb that like not related to this, but he'll show you what he means by it. The video you're going to watch, oops, ¿dónde está? Where is it? Momentito. I got to find it. Here it is. Aquí está. It is long. Ooh, es un video de 17 minutos. It's a 17-minute video. But I would suggest you turn on the closed captions, and we'll kind of do a walkthrough through any segments that confuse you next week if you need further explanation. But I want you to feel for how he uses estar to, and we can't use ser for this, only estar. Estar with the ing idea of something happening right now at this moment, live. Okay, bien?
Yeah.
Fantástico. Come in. Take little notes during that video. If there's something like you're like, what the heck is he talking? Take little notes, any vocab, any little phrase, and take a little note about it, and we'll come back and talk about that. And then to talk about how we use these to talk about what is happening in the here and now. And we're also going to talk about when we do not use those ing forms of ando or yendo,
Right.
because there are some English uses of ing that
I'm taking my
will
Spanish
plug in a
lesson.
different kind of word in
Yes.
Spanish. So we'll talk about that next week, because that
What's
takes more
going on?
explanation. Bien?
Is next week our last class?
Next week is our last class.
Hold on just a minute.
Oui, el 23 de, sí, es el 23, sí, es el 23. El 23 de mayo, 23rd of May, next week is our last class. They have a week off when there are no classes at all. And June, will be June 6th, whatever the first full week of June is, that is when that will start.
Okay.
Summer session. So there will be a week off in between when there are no classes.
And it's the same time, yeah? Same time?
Same time, 9:30. A las 9:30, yeah, 9:30. 9:30, same time, no difference. If you are going to want to do more advanced stuff, I am going to designate, starting summer, a separate time. And you can either take this and look at the more advanced class or not, but I have to determine that time depending on what other classes get assigned to me from Scottsdale. So I'm just going to send you a little questionnaire asking you, like, if there's a day that's completely, this is a no-go, you know, you check it off on the no list. I'm going to try to find the best time for everybody. ¿Sí? ¿Bien?
Sí, bien. Gracias.
Magnífico. Ok.
Gracias.
De nada, de nada.
Okay.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Gracias.